Hello everyone, welcome to a rare, I admit it, rare, live episode of Newsflash. Today we're coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as we continue our Culture Tropical Tour, but that is not what we're going to be talking about tonight. We have breaking news in the military front. We have just launched a major airstrike on Iran, killing a top Iranian general in a U.S. strike, which Iran is calling it really an explicit act of a war. This targeting of Soleimani leading to a massive escalation in tensions that apparently President Trump ordered, according to the Pentagon. Also, we take a look at the latest news, including two right-wing Democrats joining Republicans and asking the Supreme Court to consider overturning Roe v. Wade, the latest in the 2020 election, and some news to do with Chelsea Manning. But obviously the big story that we will be following tonight is this top Iranian general. Has Iranian official news media confirmed that a powerful commander in its Revolutionary Guard Corps, Major General Qasem Soleimani, was killed in a strike on the Baghdad International Airport early Friday. So, yeah, the United States carried out the strike going to the Pentagon. And again, apparently the official word here is that Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq throughout the region. So that's what the Pentagon is saying here. And obviously, I think if we're just paying attention to any recent history, I think we should view that with some extreme skepticism here. This is, again, I think it's very important to note that before something major does happen, before this becomes a massive problem, I think it's very, very important to realize that the Donald Trump administration broke the peace with Iran by pulling out of this nuclear deal, by increasing sanctions, increasing the stranglehold it had on Iran's economy, sanctioning things like basic necessities for the people of Iran, with food and medicine sanctions, blocking that and stifling their economy, even though there was no evidence of them breaking the JCPOA. And now this continued escalation that's largely been playing out of the media scene for a long time, until the recent escalation with the attack on the storming the embassy, which did not, I'll be damned if it happened out of nowhere. This was something that was really building for a long time, and very, very conveniently left out of media coverage until things hit the boiling point, which they did, thanks to this neocon war hawk move by President Donald Trump. Something that we didn't really think was coming when he got rid of John Bolton. We thought, oh, the danger's over, the worst is past with this guy. But this is obviously not the case, as there has been this is a very, very serious action here that he has taken, something that is not going to go over well, and is going to be a major strike against this. So Iraqi and Lebanese television also reported the death, which was confirmed by senior militia leaders in Iraq. The strikes followed a warning on Thursday afternoon from Defense Secretary Mark Esper, who said the United States military would preemptively strike Iranian backed forces in Iraq and Syria if there were signs the paramilitary group was preparing war attacks against American bases and personnel in the region. And there really is a debate as to why the hell are we in these countries in the first place. And this is I think really, it's only there's only one person who I think is responsible for this, and the fact that this war, I mean, that's not entirely true. There's definitely more than one person who is responsible for the situation that we are in now. It's a whole bunch of people, most of which we probably don't even know their names. Most Americans probably don't even know who is mostly responsible for what is going on at this point in time. But I think Obama, by increasing the amount of foreign conflicts that the United States has been involved in with little to no fanfare, has played a big role in the fact that the wars that we're in, having troops in places that we don't even know. It used to be everybody knew what was happening with our troops. Everybody knew it. It was a major thing that everybody knew, and everybody completely understood what was going on. And now we don't know. We got troops up in Lebanon, we got troops in Iraq, we got troops in Syria. Nobody quite, I follow the news, I don't know if you know, but very intensely. And I just do not have a full understanding of what's going on here. This is a state that we've gotten it to, obviously through Bush, mainly I think through Obama, because the media gave him so little grief for what he was doing, so little attention was put on it. But now we have a extremely militaristic country, and we have extreme amounts of troop involvement. But we don't even know the first thing about what's going on. If you ask most Americans, they're like, oh, we're not no war. Like, well, I mean, maybe we got some troops, but there's no real war going on. There's no real conflict going on. Like, but now there is about to be. That is the crazy thing here. Yeah, if we get word of attacks, we will take preemptive action to protect American forces, to protect American lives. The game has changed, and I think the real question that's going to be answered is, who has changed it? I think that's going to be the real focus. Who has changed this game? Because there is no denying here that we were at a peace state. Like, we were in a state of complete and total, like, things were going relatively normally. For a large amount of time here. So the Tasnim news agency, which is affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, confirmed the death of Soleimani. Soleimani was a major, major blow for Iran, almost probably tantamount to killing someone in America, head of the CIA, or like a major, major figure. American officials consider Soleimani the commander of the Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds forces, I don't know how you say that, responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American soldiers during the Iraq War, and hostile, by the way, an illegal offensive war, by the way, and hostile Iranian activities throughout the Middle East. And again, it is such a very, very funny situation that we have gotten up here, and the manipulation of words that you're going to see here in the American media, and what the reaction is to this. Like, how will they respond? What words will they take for granted? And I think it's going to be very important, because this is the same situation that we've seen, that we saw however many years ago, like beginning of Bush, like 2003, 2000. In the wake of 9/11, in the beginning of the debate over weapons of mass destruction, like, this is what is going on. This is devastating for Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps and the regime, for Khamenei's regional ambitions, said Mark Dubowitz, the chief executive of the Hawkish Foundation for Defense of Democracies, a conservative think tank that supports a hard line against Iran. Probably has a lot of influence at this point in the White House, for all we know. Referring to the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei there in that quote. For 23 years, he has been the equivalent of the JSOC commander, of the CIA director, and Iran's real foreign minister. He is irreplaceable and indispensable to Iran's military establishment. So, yeah, this is something that, and again, the fact that a lot of Americans are, because they believe completely and fully in the supreme power of Iran's military, like, it's not going to be that easy. It's really not going to be that easy. I'm just warning everybody now. It is not going to be that easy. It's the strike. Yeah, it killed 5 people, including the pro-Iranian chief of an umbrella group for Iraqi militias. Iraqi television reported, and militia officials confirmed. Like, there's been some releases of documents that pretty much prove that Iran has a stranglehold over the Iraqi government, which has been played a big role in staving off American influence. So, the public relations chief of the umbrella group, Popular Mobilization Forces in Iraq, Mohammed Ridya Jabari, was killed as well. 2 other people were killed in a strike, according to an officer at the Baghdad Joint Command. So, the attack appears to have been an airstrike that hit 2 vehicles, the officer said. So, the strike was the second attack at the airport within hours. Obviously with the controversial embassy attack following it. So yeah, let's get into some of the reaction from this now here, as the drone strike believed to be from this U.S. military group at or near the Baghdad airport has killed this guy. Soleimani is going to be the name that you're going to be hearing many, many times over. This is going to be a significant step towards a hot, boots on the ground war situation in this region. Yes, the Trump administration just plunged the region into a likely massive sectarian and bloody crisis, and along with this country. There's a very, very good chance, if things, depending on the Iranian response here and how it's played out in the media, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. So, this is Al Jazeera journalist Sana Saeed, cautious to overstate the potential, but it's hard to ignore the targeting of Soleimani as an act of explicit war. So the strike came less than 24 hours after Mark Esper told reporters the U.S. military was ready to take preemptive strikes against Iranian-backed militants in Iraq, a reaction to protests Tuesday outside the American embassy in Baghdad that paralyzed the 104-acre complex. So that's it's reaction to, increased military presence all throughout Iraq. The American military trying to retake the Iraqi government for them as much of the influence has gone to Iran throughout the last however many years that this has all played out. But journalist Rania Khalek took to social media to explain the situation in the context of Soleimani's place in the Iranian military. Most Americans won't understand the gravity of this. Qasem Soleimani is the head of both of the Iranian IRGC's elite Quds force, which conducts operations outside of Iran in both Iraq and Syria. And the National's deputy foreign editor, Jack Moore, described the importance of the strike as tantamount to Iran killing Gina Haspel. It's like Iran killing the head of CIA or the Mossad on foreign soil. This isn't just about Iraq. It's a very, very, very big deal here. All right, so we're going to be continuing to follow the story as it plays out for you. Not really too much. We know the facts pretty much on this. This guy's killed. It's very, very important. Iran's obviously now going to have to respond, which could happen very, very soon. We don't know what is going to happen. Probably within the next 24 to 48 hours, this is going to play out, and we will be following that for you. But anyway, in the meantime, let's talk about some other news. Let's do that. Let's talk about some other news here. Reproductive rights advocates on Thursday seized on an amicus brief signed by more than 200 members of Congress, including two conservative Democrats, Dan Lipinski and Colin Peterson, joining House Minority Whip Steve Scalise in the effort here. Both of them hopefully are facing primaries. I know Dan Lipinski is supporting Marie Newman in Illinois' 4th District. And Marie Newman was not quiet about this decision either. This is, again, literally saying explicitly as a Democrat, I want to overturn this decision. I'm done with Roe v. Wade. It's run its course here. Colin Peterson, who I really hope is facing a primary challenge. His position in Congress jeopardizes the health of women in the Illinois 3rd District and across the country. Newman tweeted, "My opponent does not trust women and is not fit to represent us." It's pretty fair. And really is disturbing coming from a Democrat, because we think all the Democratic parties still move to the left. Not when there's people like that in there, that's for sure. The brief was filed ahead of the court's hearing on June Medical Services versus G, concerning a Louisiana law that requiring abortion providers to have admitting privileges at a nearby hospital, one of the numerous target restrictions on abortion providers' laws passed in states in recent years. So it's a very, very, I think, appropriate term for that, shall we say. Discrepancies on what constitutes an undue burden on patients seeking abortion care illustrate the unworkability of the right to abortion found in Roe v. Wade, and the need for the court to again take up the issue of whether Roe and Planned Parenthood versus Casey should be reconsidered and, if appropriate, overruled. So this is going to be this is from the brief. This is the anti-abortion take. And I think it's very possible if this is going to be the full might of Congress here. And Jeffrey Toobin said after Anthony Kennedy retired that, this abortion is going to be dead and gone within 18 months or by the end of 2019, whatever the case may be. Maybe he may be right, but maybe just have to wait a little longer. I don't know. So that could be very, very disturbing depending on what we see here. This is going to be a story I think worth watching very closely. Alexis McGill Johnson, acting president of Planned Parenthood, said the Louisiana law and the amicus brief are